Hello and welcome to ReginaldESQ. I'm Underhook and this is my review of the Tier 8 French tank destroyer, the AMX AC 48. So is it any good? Yeah, I liked it. I think it's a good tank destroyer. It's fast, it has good frontal armour, and it has a very high burst damage because it has a 3-shot auto loader, and that allows you to get in, do a lot of damage very quickly and then run away. So negatives, well, it is a tank destroyer, which is a negative in the game at the moment because the game is not really geared towards tank destroyers like it used to be. And of course, like all tank destroyers, it's vulnerable from the sides and rear to attack. And it has a very long reload time, of course, to load the auto loader. So let's anyway have a look and compare the stats and compare it to some of the other tanks. Alright, so I'm just trying to compare it with a few more of the popular tanks in the game. So we have the AMX AC 48 on the right here, on the left, sorry. Then we have the Ferdinand, the ISU 152, Rheinmetall Borsig, and the new Chinese WZ 111. So we can see here the DPM on the French tank is way down, and that's because it spends so much time reloading with the auto loader, and it's got the lowest damage per shot. So it only does 400 per shot, as you can see here, compared to the next lowest is 490. So it's pretty much 25% more damage from the Ferdinand. You got 750 from both the Rheinmetall and the 152, and 560 from the WZ. So damage per round is quite low compared to the others. The penetration of 257 is about average. It's more than the Ferdinand gets at 246 and a lot more than the Rheinmetall at 215, but not as good as the ISU at 260 or the WZ at 271. So it's about average penetration. But yeah, the DPM is way down with 1827. The next worst is what, 2250 by the Rheinmetall, and then it goes right up to these guys with 2,500. So, and that's really just because it spends so long reloading. As you can see here, 34 seconds to reload the magazine. The Rheinmetall Borsig here does 20 to reload, so that's a long reload as well. But the thing is, say maximum damage we can do in a burst is 3 4s at 1200 damage, whereas these guys are doing 750 per round. So, you know, with the reload it works out better for them. However, the burst does have an advantage. So we've got a magazine size of 3 rounds. Between each shot is 2.7 seconds, which is pretty darn quick. And if you can manage to track a tank and then get the other 2 shots into it, that's great. So that's a tactic. At close range, I find sometimes I just drive around a corner at close range and just they'll get a shot into me, but generally speaking I can unload all 3 rounds into them and then just sort of back away, back around the corner again. It's particularly if you've got teammates around the corner that the other tank can't just drive around and chase you again. So you can just basically drive around a corner, take a shot, deliver your 3 shots, doing 1200 damage, and just back around the corner again. So long as you're not exposing yourself to too many opponents when you do that. That can be a tactic. It can help your team break through the front lines because you can pretty much take out a tank doing that. It's a 120mm gun, so that's smaller than the others. A little bit harder to overmatch armor. Does have great shell velocity though, 1067. That's better than the 920 and the 930 on the other 2 there. 850 on the Russian and only 645 on the Rheinmetall Borsig. But this allows you, 1067 allows you to hit moving targets and a little bit better, or people who are popping over ridge lines. You can get some shots off on them. It's pretty good. Ammo capacity of 66. Well, I don't know how you'd ever fire 66 rounds in the game. I guess it does allow you to choose your ammo, like load up a fair bit of HE or gold rounds if you wanted to. So there's that option. The others have much lower amounts of ammunition. Aim time, as I think we said, I know there's a reload time clip. Aim time of 2.7. Where did I go? Here it is. Aim time of 2.7 is pretty good. Not as good as the Ferdinand at 2.3, which is fantastic, really. It's the same as Rheinmetall Borsig, but the WZ has 2.8, a little bit worse, and the ISU 152 has way worse at 340. Dispersion of 0.37 isn't too bad. Not as good as the German 0.35, although your Chinese at 0.36. The Russian and the Rheinmetall Borsig are terrible though, 0.41 and 0.4. So 0.37 is not too bad. Still seems to hit most of the time at range. It is hard to pick out weak spots though with this tank, so that is a consideration. Normally with a 3-shot burst, if I'm firing a tank at longish range, it's really rare to ever hit with more than 2 rounds out of your 3-round burst. You generally end up wasting a shot because it just misses. So at close range, it's much more certain, of course. Although I do find when you're moving the tank, so if you're at close range and you're trying to move and fire, I miss a lot. So there is that. It's not good when it's moving. The traverse is not great, but it's not terrible. What else have we got here? Elevation of 18 degrees is not too bad, and the gun depression of 6 degrees is a little less than the others, but I find it's not too bad because the gun is pretty high up on the tank, and so yeah, it's not too bad. It works okay on this tank. The best is the Ferdinand in this group with 8 degrees, and the others are pretty trashy, similar to this tank. The gun traverse of 10 degrees is not too bad compared to the others. 8 on the ISU and 12 on the WZ. Did I say it's not too bad? It's actually not looking that good, is it? It's not great. And 15 on the Ferdinand. The Rheinmetall Borsig has a sort of semi-turret, turns halfway each side, so it's got 180 degrees, so it has a big advantage here. So what this means is only having 10 degrees each side means you need to, if you're medium range, you need to move your tracks fairly often to adjust the aim of your gun, which means that you now have the camouflage of a moving tank and a stationary tank, and it also means that you lose your camouflage net bonus if you have one. So it is a little bit of a problem, but it kind of works okay in this tank. Forward speed of 50, and this is where this tank is much better than the others. It really does have a forward speed of 52. It actually does that, whereas the others you can see are quite a bit slower. The next best is the ISU 152 at 43, and the others are all around 30 to 35. So 50 is really good. Reverse speed of 13 is the best, except for the Chinese tank, which has 18 in reverse. It weighs surprisingly fast because it does weigh 50 tons, which is pretty heavy. Nowhere near as heavy as the Ferdinand at 66, but it's heavier than all the others that we see here. And you can ram pretty successfully with this tank, and you probably will need to ram. That's one reason why you might want to get a heavy spore liner in this tank. You will need to ram tanks because with over 30 seconds to reload the magazine, you'll find that sometimes you get caught with just no ammo and there's nothing else you can do but try and ram the tank. So yeah, you probably want to learn the weights of the other tanks in your tiers when you're driving this tank, because you do have to ram fairly often. Terrain resistances on this tank aren't great. Now the track traverse, pretty important in a TD, is 28, which is actually not too bad. The others you can see here, Ferdinand and ISU only have 21, which is pretty bad. WZ is 25. The Rheinmetall has 38 though, and considering it also has a 180 degree turret, that's a big maneuverability advantage to the Rheinmetall. The once again, train resistances aren't great. Hull armor, we'll go into the armor in detail, but it does have pretty good frontal armor. The track armor also of 30 is better than all of the others, and does mean that it's hard to get through the tracks and into the hull on this tank if they're firing at your corner, say the front corner, and that is a little bit of an advantage in this tank. However, it does have low hit points, only 1,000 hit points, which is the same as the Chinese tank destroyer, but all the others have more, particularly the Ferdinand has 50% more hit points at 1,500. Now, that said, the track health is also 220, which was the equal highest, 10% more than these other ones here. So the high track health combined with the high track armor makes this tank a little bit harder to track and harder to get through the tracks into the hull, which is kind of good. View range of 370 is the equal highest of the ones we're comparing here, so it's pretty good. Of course, the Russian tank has the worst at 350. They always have the worst. And high chance of fire compared to other tanks at 20%, but I didn't notice myself catching fire that often. Let's now have a look at the camouflage values for this tank. As expected, the best in this class is the UDES 03 with 26.1, which is light tank territory. And even when moving, 15.7 on the UDES compared to our AMX. Where are you, AMX? Here it is. 12.6 when we're stationary, whereas the UDES 03 has 15.7 when it's moving. So you can see our camouflage. Actually, I'm looking at the T28 there. So here it is, 13.28 when we're stationary. So you can see that tanks like the UDES have a huge advantage over you in camouflage. Our camouflage isn't great. 13.28 it's all right, but it's not good. It's better than a lot of the others though. The 152 here you can see has 15, which is pretty similar. The other tank, the Rheinmetall we were talking about, has really good 22, and also having that turret means it doesn't have to blow its camouflage as well. But look, that said, there's so many of the tanks, and you're going to be facing up to tier 10s in this tank. So many of them have such good view range now that once you fire your gun, you're pretty much guaranteed to be spotted anyway. This Chinese, which looks like it's an overpowered tank destroyer, looking at its armor, its gun, and its camouflage, it'll probably get nerfed at some stage, these Chinese ones. Oh no, that's the premium one, has the great camouflage. Sorry, no, the normal tank doesn't have as good a camouflage. There you go. Alright, so now let's have a quick look at the armor for this tank. Alright, so first of all, just talk about the side because it's easy. 55mm on the side isn't very much. It's enough to stop some HE shells and artillery splashing you for huge damage. So that's good, but it's not going to stop anybody shooting at you, of course. The track armor, as I said, is pretty good at 30 and does provide a fair bit of protection. You can see here, like the front corner, it's actually come up as ricochet because the armor here is still pretty good even in there. So it's not one of those ones that gets tracked and penetrated at the same time. It's actually pretty good, this track armor and the armor behind the tracks. So yeah, the rear of the tank is only 50mm, lower rear is 40. Like I said, it's good for stopping splash damage. 20mm on the roof means that, and it's a very, very big roof. We've got 30mm up to about here, and then it's 20mm all the way back. So if you get splash damage, it's alright, but if it lands on top and it is a huge target, then of course you're going to get devastated by artillery landing directly on top. Frontally though, the armor is very good. So we have 100mm on the lower plate, and the lower plate is quite small. So generally, if you can get a little bit of a hill, it's going to be quite protected. Also, if someone's at the same height as you, there we go, you've got the gun the same height, looking down on that lower plate, it's effectively about 200mm, a little bit more than 200mm, so it's not too bad. The upper plate is 150mm, all this red area here, and is coming up, as we can see here, 220 up to about 247 up the top there. The mantlet is of course excellent, and don't shoot the mantlet of this tank. We have this area here around the mantlet, which is really well angled. As you see, it's sloping, all this yellow area is sloping back. So even though it's not as thick, at 100mm, it's still very good. However, if you see this tank popping around a corner and you can't hit the sides, but you can see the gun, you can get into this gun area quite easily from the side. It's only 100mm. So this whole mantlet area here, they just don't shoot it. It's armor over the top of armor and everything, just leave it alone. Surprisingly, the cupola here and the rangefinder actually have good armor on them. They also have the 150mm. They're flatter, of course, and as sloped as this, so they are a weakness, but it's not like a terrible weakness. Even if you're on an angle and someone can only see the top of your tank, it's not too bad. So you will bounce, especially if you're shooting, sort of popping up, shooting over hills. It's still 150, but this tank does bounce quite a few shots, and if you can wiggle your tank and move around a little bit, people tend to not aim for those anyway. They tend to just go for the front, or they try and go the lower plate. It does have this huge machine gun port at the back, which normally when you're like this, people don't shoot it because they can't really see it, but big tanks like Type 4s, the Chinese heavies, that sort of stuff, can actually shoot it from here, and it's pretty thin at 50 and 30 on the top part, so just watch out for that. Gun traverse, there you go, there's your 10 degrees either side. It isn't a lot. And gun depression, you can see your maximum gun depression, let's get it down here, is there. So let's try and, so we're at about the angle now, so that's the angle you're going to be looking at. Your lower plate of course becomes more vulnerable, but your upper plate, you're getting sort of 250 to 280 when you're at maximum gun depression, so that's showing you will bounce quite a few shots when you're like that. So just before we get into the gameplay, I should talk a little bit about what I've got fitted to the tank. I have vents fitted to increase the crew skills by 5%. I have binoculars and a camouflage net fitted. Now you could, because I don't actually tend to hide that often in this tank, I tend to go front line sometimes, you could maybe, instead of going binoculars and camouflage net, go maybe coated optics and enhanced gun lane drive to speed up the aiming time. Or you could put in a heavy spall liner. I don't think anything else is worth putting on there, but those things you could choose from those if you wanted to. My crew is a fully trained crew. I think they're all fully trained in the games. Maybe one of them might not be fully trained in the gameplay, but the commander has mentor and situational awareness, so I don't have sixth sense, which really I should have. I probably should retrain that commander. I have concealment and repairs on the gunner. and there are 2 gunners in this tank. The other guy has concealment, is working on firefighting. This guy has concealment and is working on clutch braking, and this guy has concealment and is working on repairs. Let's get into the gameplay. The map is Siegfried Line. It's a tier 10 game, and for some reason it's showing tanks, so we should stop doing this. There we go. So the enemy has an I-7, an STB-1 and a T-10 1E3. Three pretty formidable tier 10 tanks, and we'll see what we can do. So this tank, as I said, it's pretty fast considering we're going up a hill and everything now. For a heavy tank, it's moving pretty well, over 30 kilometers an hour. The Lorraine next to us is also a fast tank, fast medium. So I've picked, I could have picked a game where I hid in bushes the whole game. Or this game I do hide in bushes a bit. But I really picked this game because it shows off the armour and what you can get away with in this tank. It's a little bit forgiving. So if you're like me and you're not a great player, this tank is kind of good. It can be a bit forgiving. So I might speed it up here as I'm kind of looking for shots. So I might run this at 2 times for a little bit. So our FV there goes out hunting, and it's spotted this STB-1, but he's getting hit. I'm trying to see if I can get shots on anyone here, and I can't. Nobody's poking out. And our FV there, that medium, just got destroyed. So that's a bad start. Although we are getting a couple of kills. Now, here we've got a T-54. We get a shot on this T-54 doing 424 damage, which is good. I fire the second shot and miss. I take my time with this shot, and we put that one in. Now look at the bounces. So we've just had the T-54 fired at us and bounced, and the STB-1 tier 10 tank fired at us and bounced as well. I've decided to relocate because it's looking pretty bad here. They know I'm here, and it looks like we're going to lose that flank, and the mediums are going to move in. I don't really want to get shot in the back, so I've decided to relocate. As you see, we're doing, we hit 50 kilometers an hour there. We're now slowed down, of course, but not too bad. And we've just reloaded our magazine. Takes a while, but it's a good idea, I think, that while you're reloading to move, it's a chance to relocate. So our medium has decided to stay there, and he's in all sorts of trouble. He's been hit by artillery, and a T-54 is pushing up on him. So T-123 is coming here, I think, oh great, this guy's just going to come through, YOLO it, come through, and I'm going to get side shots on him. So I'm just setting up here, preparing to devastate this T, and he's coming at a high rate of knots, but he gets hit, and I think tracked. I don't know how many times it happens to you, but it's really annoying when you think, I am going to rip this tank to pieces, and then somebody pops in and tracks it, or stops it, or like this guy, T-54 is just sort of moving back and forth there and really intimidating him, stopping him from coming forward, whereas if he actually did come forward, I could wreck him. Here he comes. I fire the shot, and unfortunately somebody else gets the killing shot before we do, so our shot doesn't count. We hit too late. Oh well, so all that time wasted there. Still got 2 shots in the magazine, so I'm not going to reload just yet. Just maneuvering for better position, trying to see if I can get some shots. So sometimes on this map I will just drive up where the other heavies are and just pop around the corner and try and do burst damage to various tanks. This particular game I didn't want to do that. Now I've just seen that the STB-1 is coming around, so I'm trying to get a better position in case he gets through. And we can see here he's coming around now on this Lorraine, so let's see if we can help the Lorraine out. But the Lorraine's actually dead already, that didn't take long. We do get one into the STB-1, we've tracked him. And looks like he hasn't got any repair kits left, so we get a second shot, but now I've got to reload. This is a real worry now because 41% is going to be more than a one-shot kill. I'm in a TD and I'm reloading. So are we about to die? We could be about to die. He's already killed the artillery. Here he comes. Now fortunately for us, he's weaving back and forth. He probably thinks that, yeah, we might be about to shoot him. And if he had to come in a straight line, he probably would have got to us before we reloaded. But as it is, It's giving me time to reload it. I was hoping to track him there, didn't do so. But we get the second shot on. Lucky he was going uphill, and so then when he turned on the hill, he didn't move quickly enough for us, and we were able to keep our aim and shoot him. So, whew, that was fortunate. I've decided to immediately reload because I know there's no one else in the immediate vicinity. But did you see there we bounced another shot off that STB one there? So we've been had 2 shots from a tier 10 and another shot from that T-54 who was a tier 9 tank, and we've bounced all of them. So that's why I want to show you this replay, is to demonstrate that this tank really, even at close range, can bounce shots, provided they're not getting time to sort of aim at your lower plate or your sort of weaknesses and you're not presenting your side. Survivability in this tank can be pretty good. Of course, you're going to get the games where you get the monster tier 10 tanks who just spam gold ammo the whole game. And there's nothing you can do about pay-to-win players. But against sort of average players who aren't spamming gold, you do bounce a lot of shots, and it's quite a good tank. So I decided it's now or never, because looks like we're winning, and I need to get some shots. I've reloaded, so let's see what we can do. I might just speed it up a little bit here to 2 times while we're manoeuvring. And we'll slow back down to 1 times now. We're coming out the open. We can see there's a UDES 03. That's the one. That's the tier 8 one that doesn't have any armor. So I know where he is. We'll keep aiming and just fire a shot here. Don't know if that hit. Probably look in the post-game stats and sort of see if that hit. His health is pretty much gone, so maybe we did. You're kidding me. Absorbed by his tracks, and someone else gets the kill. Luck is not with us there. We've been lucky in bouncing shots, but not so lucky in hitting some of our shots. And that does happen a lot with this gun. The accuracy is not good at range. And we get one into that T-25 pilot there. 364 damage is pretty bad. I find with this tank it does do below average damage with the majority of shots. We bounced a shot there from the T-25. I find if you, like I was wiggling there and manoeuvring a little bit, you do bounce a lot when you keep angling the front. We're currently reloading, and I'm just trying to get out of sight while I'm reloading. All we've got left actually is artillery, so I assume he's about to drown himself. Looks like he is actually in the water on the map there, and yeah, he's drowned himself. Scumbag. Into the game. So that turned out to be a class 2 game in the tank, and it looks like that blind shot we fired at the UDES did actually miss. Okay, let's have a look at the next screen, and we did 3,252 damage. I think I've done a little bit more than that, and then my maximum's about, I don't know, around about 3,300, 3,400, something like that. So this is close to my maximum. We finished on top for our team, not bad considering it was a tier 10 game. We fired 11 shots, 9 of them hit, 8 of them penetrated. So that's pretty good performance from the gun, really. As we said, 3,252 damage. We're looking at most of it medium, closest medium range, only 424 at long range. Received 4 hits, they all bounced. So we bounced 1,340 damage. That's pretty good considering we only have 1,000 hit points. Damage 5, destroyed 1. There you go. The map is Airfield. Once again, it's a tier 10 game. The enemy team has an IS-7, a T-62A and a T-110E3. Pretty formidable tanks. We also have some pretty formidable tanks on our tier 10 lineup as well. This tank seems to do well when it's out tiered. I look back at most of my good replays and they're mostly tier 10 games, so it doesn't seem to matter too much to this tank. So that's another good thing about it. I'm going to speed this up because I kind of stuff up here at the start. I try and go around here. I'm hoping to get some early shots on people who decide to sneak around the edge, but then I see that this little brick wall and or stone wall and the plane kind of block everything. I thought I might get a shot on that guy. I don't even know if my shot would go through the plane, even though it's only canvas and balsa wood. Then I look over here. I think this T-110E3 is going to YOLO out, so I just wait for him for a second. I'm hoping I get side shots on him, but he doesn't actually YOLO anywhere. So I'll move around here, and now I see that this E75 here has been spotted and stunned by artillery. Decide to see if I can get any shots on him. So aim at the lower plate because I'm getting an orange indicator there. Fire, and we miss it. It lands in the ground. Second shot looks like it goes through the upper plate. That was a fluke. The third shot, I really didn't think it was going to pan, but I've got a 3-shot magazine which I was going to end up reloading anyway, so I may as well just fire the shot. It didn't go through. We're getting some spotting damage now though on that E75, so we're actually seeing on 637 assistance or spotting damage, so it worked out okay for that. 394 damage we did with that shot. I did find that average damage of 400 with this gun, but I did find that looking at all of my games, at the end of every game, it almost never does over 400. It does do it occasionally, but it's really, really quite rare. So it doesn't. I don't know about this 400 average damage. I think it's maybe I just had a lot of bad luck, but it really doesn't seem to get to 400 very often at all. Anyway, maybe all the times it did over that, it was actually kill shots, and that's, you know, I don't know. Anyway. So, sitting here for a little bit, hoping once again that T123 is going to come out. Doesn't seem to happen. But I decide now that there's no point. I can't hide anywhere, so I'm just going to basically go for it and see if we can get face to face with a couple of tanks and do a bit of damage. So as you can see here, whilst it's not, you know, we're not flying through, we're going alright. We're going up a hill, still doing 20-something kilometres an hour. There's a lot of heavy tanks that only do about 10 kilometres an hour up that little hill there, so it's pretty good. Now we can see here I've got a T-34 on my right who is coming up here at the same time, so that's really good for us. That means that tanks are less likely to just jump around on our flank, and we might should be able to, the two of us together might be able to do something here. So I realise I've been spotted here, but this T123 is coming around. Going for the lower plate there, we got a good shot. That one 456, so it made a liar out of me saying it does the 400. And that last shot there, I don't think I did any damage. Of course, he's firing gold and does 750 damage to us, but our teammate finishes him off, so fantastic. So lucky with our teammate there. We only ended up, I think, getting one shot into that T123. But anyway. So yeah, that really annoys me that a top tier, tier 10 tank, top tier, probably the best penetration of any tank in the game at the moment, and he's spamming gold. Ah, dear me. Anyway, let's see what else we do. Here comes this German light tank. We put a shot into him, and he bounces off us. Fantastic. So this T-32 is pretty worried about us. I can see his guns looking at me, but he's got to now worry about this other tank in front of him. So that's going to give me the chance to come around behind here, hopefully. We put one into his turret, and aim at his hull here. The other one into his hull. Let's back around now. I'm going to turn my tank a little bit, see if he bounces off us, and he does bounce off us. Beautiful. So that there is one of the great things about this tank. The burst damage is great, and it can take a hit, especially at close range. People, if you're angling and moving your tank a little bit, people don't really want to fire at those range finders and the cupola because they might miss. So they tend to just aim at the upper hull, and good chance they're going to bounce. Of course, if they're firing gold, doesn't work out so good. So here's artillery. He looks like he's about to go for a swim. Let's try and spoil his day. Oh, we miss. That does happen with this tank. I tried to fire a little bit too early and got a miss, and we end up getting the final kill shot there. Why do you drown yourself? I just don't see any logic in it. It's like it's a spiteful thing to do, isn't it? It's like saying I'm going to take my bat and ball and go home. No. It's just I don't know. I just can't understand it. But anyway, that's me. So we've got one round. I haven't reloaded because there's only one tank left. So what's the point in reloading the magazine and then finding that tank and finding out I haven't reloaded, so I can't shoot it. There it is over there. We probably, in hindsight, probably could have reloaded because it's taking us a while to get there. But we still have one round. We might get another hit in. Let's see what we can do. And can we get a shot on this guy? And yes, we can. 413, so there you go, making a liar of me. We did do over average damage, but then again, that's probably why you're seeing this replay. Game over. Okay, so that ended up being a Class 1 game, and you can see there we did quite a lot of spotting as well as a fair bit of damage. So we finished on top for our team, 2,978 damage, so good damage. Only destroyed one tank though. This tank here, the T62A on the opposition team, did over 4,000 damage though, so he had a really good game, and bad luck they lost. So we fired 12 rounds, 10 of those hit, 8 of them penetrated, so pretty good. As we said, 2,978. A little bit of it, 676, was long range. The rest of it was mostly pretty close. 3 rounds, all of them bounced. Now, of course, I'm showing you good games that the shots bounced a lot. Of course, if you just drive out in the open, you're going to get hit on the sides and you'll be instantly destroyed. So don't think that the armor is invincible. It just is pretty good. You will still get penetrated, fairly often, but it's a lot better than some of the tank destroyers these days that have no armor, because the ones with no armor really, because the camouflage and is so bad now, and the view range so bad since they nerfed tank destroyers, those sort of things a while back, really unarmored tank destroyers is really the worst tanks in the game at the moment. So these ones with armor really are a lot better. Anyway, we blocked 1,310 damage, so more than our hit points, so that's great. Damage 6, destroying 1. And we got 1,100 assists, almost 1,200 assistance damage, so that's kind of handy as well. I didn't say it in the last game. I think the last game I showed we made about 31,000 profit. This one 35,000 profit. So it is quite a profitable tank for a tier 8. Whereas the UDES 03, that is the other tier 8 tank destroyer I'm driving at the moment, that is not profitable at all. So this one is quite a bit more profitable. Let's... and what did we get? We got 1,100 and something XP, which was a Class 1. I didn't get Mastery in the tank, but so Mastery is probably going to be about 1,250, something like that, I assume. And I'm a little bit conflicted because I didn't get a Mastery game in the tank, but I did get a Mark of Excellence. So Mark of Excellence would indicate that I'm driving the tank better than, say, 65%. And you've got to admit, I ground the tank from ground up as well, so I don't... I grind through all the modules, so obviously I have not so many good games at the start, but I still managed to get a Mark of Excellence, which is great, but I didn't get Mastery, and my win rate in this tank is about 46%. So I'm a little bit conflicted there. So obviously there's a lot of people who aren't driving this tank very well, and that's why I'm doing better than some of them, but obviously there's some people who are doing really, really well in it. I don't know. But anyway, maybe they're firing gold, and that's the difference. Maybe if you fire a lot of gold, it's easier to get Mastery or something. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching my review of the AMX AC 48. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more reviews, please subscribe to ReginaldESQ. Have fun.